Hey, what up everybody, I'm Senegal, and this is Dark Souls Remastered on PS4. And here we are, it's part 10. Part 10. And last time, we got out of Blighttown, got the second Firekeeper Soul, which gives you more power with your Estus Flask. You can see that +2 by our Estus Flask. It means it's a power level 2, so it does more healing every time we take a swig. I think you can get that up to like +5 at least, and maybe +10. Yeah, we did that, and then we turned it in, and we were in the Valley of Drakes messing around a little bit, got killed by that poison dragon, and then came back and got revenge, got the short sword of Astora, or the ASS, if you will. And a cool shield, I think, a Dragon Crest shield that's good with fire resistance. So we can use that against like the Bed of Chaos or something that does fire. Then after that, we went to, we talked to everybody and everything, and Firelink, and then we went back to the Asylum, where we started the game, the very beginning of the game, where we were locked in the jail cell and we fought the Asylum demon. And if you go back there, there's a stray demon. You fall down under where you fought the Asylum demon, and you fight another one, a stray demon, a more powerful one with magic. And we beat him and got a Titanite slab, which is the best upgrade material that gets you to +20 or whatever it is, +15. I can't remember. I need to go look that stuff up. But it's the best. You only get like 1 or 2 of those in the whole game, unless you like specifically farm them from Dark Wraiths. So that's one of like 2 or 3 that you get in the whole game, and you need at least 2 or 3 to upgrade all your equipment. So we got the first one, and we got the Rusty Iron Ring, which lets you run easier in like ankle high water. Like it would have been nice in Blighttown, but we're going back there anyway, and we're gonna fight a Hydra here soon. We're gonna use it on, and there might be an area like Ash Lake later on that we could use it in, and who knows what's in the DLC. I've only seen it like briefly, because I've never wanted to fully watch it because I knew I'd play it eventually. So I've seen like the fight with Artorias and everything, but that's about it. And that was it for last time. So we fought that one boss. We fought the stray demon, got the slab and the ring, and then we fought a few Black Knights, got some chunks. Fought Oscar of Astora, got his shield, which is the Crest shield, so that was good for this video here. We're going to fight the Moonlight Butterfly. We can use that Crest shield on that, because it does good against magic. So we got a shield that's good for magic defense, and a shield that's good for fire defense, and we got a shield that regenerates stamina. Those are all the Crest shields. I don't know if it's every single one of them, but it's a majority. The Grass Crest does stamina recovery, that's what we're wearing. The Dragon Crest does fire resistance, so good against enemies that use fire. And then the Crest shield is good against magic enemies that use magic, like Gwendolyn and the Moonlight Butterfly, and maybe even Sif, stuff like that. So got all those shields now on our Grim Reaper Pyromancer here, with our Grass Crest shield, our scythe, some charcoal pine resin, some pyromancy. What I did there was switch my pyromancy to ranged pyromancy, because with the Moonlight Butterfly, which we're going towards right now, it's a boss and it's a ranged fight. So if you don't have any kind of ranged attacks, you're gonna be SOL. Not totally, but for like 80% of the fight, you won't be able to attack the boss, and it will be able to attack you. The other 20%, you'll be able to attack it, but it won't be able to attack you. But it does an explosion after a few seconds. So I just wanted to get a little bit of souls there so I could level up, because I was really close to a level. I didn't want to go with a bunch of... You definitely don't want to go like out to a boss with enough souls to level up. Like, you might as well level up instead of taking all those souls with you. So I'm going to put it into dexterity, which is going to give us 4 more attack, as you can see there with the right weapon 1, R weapon 1, getting 4 more attack just for 1 dexterity. The reason that is because our scythe has B scaling. So it goes S, A, B, C, D, E, and we got B scaling, which is pretty good in this game. S scaling's pretty rare. A scaling's the best, pretty much, and then B is second best. S is just special, so it's, you know, it's the best, but you only see it on like 1 or 2 weapons in each class, maybe 3 weapons in each class. So B is actually pretty dang good, and that's what this great scythe has. And so the more we level up our dexterity, the more damage we get. So we're getting like 4 attack on every 1 dexterity. Now if we had a weapon that scaled with, like, say C, a C scale, then it would only give us like 2 or 3 attack every dexterity. If we had one that scaled with D, we'd only get like 1 or 2 every dexterity. And then if you have E, it only gives you like 1 attack for every dexterity you do. So we have like an E in strength. So if we leveled up strength with this weapon, we get like 1 attack. So eventually, once you put like 50 to 60 points in dexterity, eventually you get diminishing returns. You can't go too high with it. So I forget what it is. It's probably like more like 40. Then you start getting diminishing returns, and you only get like 1 or 2 every time. Then once you get to like 60, you only get like 1 every time. So you have to start doing your strength, because you can get like 1 or 2 here and there. Like if you level up strength, you'll get 1, and then you level it up again, you'll get 2, and then you level up again, you'll get 1. Level it up again, you get 2. Eventually that's better than going to like 61, 62, 63 with dexterity, because you get 1 every single time with that. But until then, you want to do just dexterity. But that's really far on, like at the end of the game, if you're like, you know, going that far into your attack. Like eventually you should probably switch to like attunement or endurance or like stamina, more HP, instead of getting that diminishing return on your attack. These frog guys here, they're not that big of a threat, but they do drop a really good item called a what is it called? Crap. We'll see in a minute, but it gives you it's a green blossom, I think, and it gives you stamina recovery, kind of like the shield we're wearing, but it'll like double our stamina recovery if we take one before like a fight or whatever. Then you can just go hard with your weapon, and it almost keeps up with you. Not exactly, but you know, you could get an extra 2 attacks if you're spamming R1. Instead of, you know, 4 attacks, you'll get like 6, because your stamina is recovering so quickly with the green blossom. It's a type of like buff that you would take before a battle. Like a charcoal pine resin lights your weapon on fire. Green blossom gives you extra stamina regeneration, stuff like that. So it's a really good item to have, and they're not super plentiful. So you could come here and farm them if you wanted to. See, he just dropped one. The frog that we just killed dropped one over there. I think it's at their only drop as well. So if you see them drop something, you know it's going to be that. But if you remember, we came here earlier to farm the forest guardians with the crest of Artorias. Now this is the other way you can go. The way we went back in part 2 or 3 was through the crest of Artorias door, which is the closest door to the bonfire, backward, the last bonfire that I just showed us starting at. There's another hallway you can go down a little bit further back past that door, and that's where we are right now. And this is a pretty easy area. You could go here. You could go here after like gargoyles, after Capra Demon, something like that. It's not that hard. These guys are a little bit hard because they do this spell on you. It's a debuff, and it makes you move really slowly. So you can't roll, you can't run, and your stamina goes down like really fast or something. You can avoid it by like getting a certain distance away from them when they're doing it. But a better thing to do is when they start casting it, just go ham on them, just kill them, because as soon as they die, it goes away. So it takes them a few seconds to cast it. You can get 2 or 3 attacks in while they're casting it, and if you have enough attack, you can kill them. Green weed shaped like a flower, temporary boost to stamina recovery speed. This uniquely bitter, biting herb is sometimes harvested in large quantities, but normally it is an annual plant found near water. See, that's why I leave myself enough time, because sometimes I'm talking about something else, and then I bring up an item description, and don't leave myself enough time, because I don't start immediately reading it, because I don't remember when I did it. Nothing over here. This is just a little side area, really, where you can get some green blossoms off these guys. There's like a soul over here. A pretty good one, if I remember correctly. Proud Knight. Proud Knight's pretty good. It's like 1,000 or up, or at least 800. But yeah, this is just a little side area, I think. Oh, and there's a ring over here. But this is a good spot if you want to farm the green blossom item, buff item. I wouldn't recommend doing it for like too long, because I'm not the type that uses them that often. Like, I'll remember to use them every once in a while. It'd probably be better if I did use them more often, but just from my experience, it's not something that's like a game changer. It'll probably help you a little bit in a boss fight, but other than that, kind of like adding a fire to your weapon. It gives you a couple, 10 extra damage per hit or something. So it's about as effective as that. It gives you like 10 extra stamina per, whatever, per second, or 5 extra stamina a second or something. So it'll give you that extra attack if you're like spamming attacks, at least 1 or 2. But here's the Wolf Ring, one of the special rings granted to the 4 Knights of Gwyn. The Wolf Ring belongs to Artorias the Abyss Walker. Artorias had an unbendable will of steel, and was unmatched with, I think, a greatsword, it said, but I don't know how I didn't give myself enough time. I read it like twice. That's how I judge how long I should leave the text on the screen. I'll read it twice in my head, and I guess I'm more than 2 times slower reading out loud. I don't know. But this weapon boosts your poise. This is really good for like PvP fighting. And if you look right here, this area is where we went to the bonfire. From Andre to the crest of Artorias, if you remember that little treacherous path with the guys popping out of the ground and like the cliff on your left as you go towards the bonfire, that was that area right there. So if you looked over this way, you could have seen that ring item. Just a good ring. It's boost your poise. Poise is like how often you get staggered when you're, like how often you get staggered out of something. So if I'm doing an attack and somebody else attacks me, it'll stop me from attacking. Or if I'm blocking and somebody attacks me a few times, it'll stop me from blocking. Like, that's what poise is. Like how it's kind of hard to explain. It's one of the last things that I fully understood with this game was poise, probably. Yeah, it's like when you're blocking, if somebody's hitting you and they hit you 4 times, and it'll knock your shield back and stagger you. If you have more poise, you can get hit 5 or 6 times before that happens. And then it works the other way with your weapon. Like if you're swinging your weapon and you're going, you hit somebody, then you hit them again, and then somebody hits you from behind while you're trying to hit them a 3rd time. If you have a bunch of poise, that attack will continue through and hit them. If you have like no poise, then they'll stop you dead in your tracks and your attack will not continue. Pretty much, I guess that's what it is. It's like how likely you are to continue your action when you're being hit, I guess, something like that. So your action could be blocking, or your action could be a spell, or your action could be an attack, or just walking and running. Like if you have low poise and you are trying to get away and you get hit, you'll get staggered, and then you can get hit again and like chain attacked. But if you have a lot of poise, you get hit and you'll act like it didn't even happen. You know what I mean? If you have like a boatload of poise and somebody hits you, it's just like a mosquito, and you just keep going doing whatever you're doing. That's what poise is. Alright, you gotta watch out right here, because there's a bunch of these little plant guys that'll pop out of the ground when you go for this item. And this item is a really good item, so you're gonna want to get it. And there's like 3 of these guys, and like 2 of the stone knights. And there's the spell I was talking about, and there was the demonstration of just cutting them down while they're doing it. Right here I can't do that because this plant guy was trying to grab me, and if they grab you they do quite a bit of damage. So I just had to get out of there. I killed about half the enemies, ran away, took a little swiggy. And then these guys have really long range. Like I thought I had long range, but they have some long range. So do those knights too, so you gotta watch out. They seem really slow, but their reach is far. So even though they're slow, if you don't get far enough away, they'll still hit you. So there's the Elite Knight set, the Stone Greatsword, which isn't a guaranteed drop, so that's good. It'd be a cool weapon to use in a playthrough. I've said that many times already, as I keep seeing weapons. We got a Partisan earlier. That would be cool for a playthrough as well. That stone, we got like a couple cool dragon weapons we could use for a playthrough. Like I'm thinking of all these things we could do eventually. Alright, this guy's gonna slow us down. He got it on us. I don't know how I rolled away out of that. I must have been just on the edge of the spell or something while I was rolling. But yeah, these guys are more dangerous than they seem. Like they seem like big slow idiots that you can just get behind and attack, but they're pretty quick with their attacks once they get going, and that spell can really mess you up. If they get that spell off on you and there's 2 or 3 enemies like right on top of you, then you're not getting away, and you'll be blocking and they'll knock your stamina all the way down, and then you can't block anymore. You know, that's where poise comes in. Hopefully you got enough in you to wait out that spell, or to get away, or to kill a couple of the enemies, or whatever. Because that spell is dangerous when you got 2 or 3 enemies chasing you and you can't move. Because it really does slow you down. You can't run, you can't roll, you can block, but your stamina goes down really quickly. And there's the Stone Great Shield, so we got both their drops. Alright, let's check this stuff out. Some cool lore for the area. The Stone Knights who guard the Darkroot Garden wield this moss-covered greatsword. The same magic which created the Stone Knights is imbued in the sword. Unleash this power by wielding the sword with 2 hands. So if you put it in 2 hands, it's like the Drake Sword. You can do a magic attack, and it's a debuff. So it doesn't do any damage, but it'll make your enemy move really slow. I think there used to be a trick with that, or the shield or something. Alright, let's find the shield. Mossy round great shield used by the guardian of the Darkroot Garden, the Stone Knight. The Stone Knight is a creation of ancient magic, and the shield is imbued with the same power, but is also extremely heavy. I forget exactly what the shield does. I know the sword does the slow debuff. And the Elite Knight set. Really good set. I wear this a lot. Helm of a nameless knight, perhaps an elite knight of Astora. Although he was loath to give up on his undead mission, he perished at the undead asylum and went hollow. They all say the same thing, except for it changes. Armor of nameless knight. Based on fire warding heraldic symbol on its blue crest. That was the only difference there. Gauntlets, leggings. This is talking about Oscar, the guy we just killed in the Undead Asylum. He was wearing the Elite Knight set, and he had the Crest Shield, and I forget what weapon he uses. I think it's just like a straight sword or something. Like a long sword. Oh, I was yawning. So I'm just clearing out this area. It's a pretty, it's not an easy area, but it's, you know, a lower level area. This is Witch Beatrice. I was trying to think of her name in an earlier playthrough, or a part. And, you need to summon her, so make sure that you're in human form before you fight the Moonlight Butterfly, before you even leave the bonfire, before you come and do anything with the Stone Knights, before you summon her, before you get here, before you fight the Moonlight Butterfly, make sure you're human, because you want to summon this NPC. She's under the stairs behind some weeds, so you gotta kinda know it's there. Or you gotta flail around like an idiot and knock over some weeds on accident and find her. But, really good for this fight. This is like probably the one boss fight in the game that the NPC is the most useful. She is so useful. This is probably the #1 NPC co-op boss fight opportunity in the game where they're actually helpful, because she does ranged attacks. If you forgot to bring your ranged attack to this fight, which you need, she'll do it for you. I also switched to that Crest Shield that we got from Oscar. It will protect me from these spells that this thing's going to cast, at least a little bit. If I had any other shield on right now and was blocking with it, it would do way more damage. Blocking, look how much damage. It would have done twice that at least if I was wearing any other shield. See, look at that. That's without my shield up. That's how much damage. Now my shield up, that's how much. Now Beatrice is over there firing at her. She's a sorcerer, so she's trying to hit the butterfly with spells. I'm throwing pyromancy, doing pretty good damage. But Beatrice will wreck that thing. She just takes out like 3 bubbles per hit. If you forget to bring ranged attack, which that would be pretty dumb. I think I've done it before though, so don't feel too bad. The butterfly will land, and you can attack it like 2 or 3 times, but then it'll do an explosion, an AoE explosion, so you can't like stay in there and do 50 attacks. You gotta do like 2 or 3 and that's it. Then you gotta wait it out again. It's gonna land again. You're gonna have to let it land 2 to 3 to 4 times before you can win. And it's gonna keep shooting that magic at you. Maybe you didn't go to the Undead Asylum and get that Crest Shield. Maybe you don't have good armor against magic. That magic can do like your whole life bar pretty quick. So you can die to that thing. That's kind of like Pinwheel, where I said, you know, if you die to it, you know, it's pretty sad. But it can happen. You saw it happen to me against Pinwheel. Even though it was a double knockout, it wasn't exactly a loss, but it wasn't exactly a graceful win either. I had to run back from my body, but he had to die as well. So here is the Divine Blacksmith. This is where you get the Divine Ember. I'm just looking at all his equipment and his I guess stone body here. I guess he turned to stone. Watchtower basement key, Divine Ember. And they are nice enough to give you a homeward bone. That way you don't have to run back all the way to the bonfire from here. I think that was put in later updates, later patches, because they didn't always have homeward bones to convenient homeward bones for you. Somebody complained and they put them in, you know. Usually that's what happens with Dark Souls games. They're too hard when they first put them out, and then people complain, and they make them slightly easier, and they're still really hard, but Divine Ember. Ember required for weapon ascension. Divine Embers are property of the church and intended for divine blacksmiths. Ascend +5 standard weapon to divine weapon. Divine weapon can be reinforced to +5. Divine weapons are for undead hunting, used against undead and the pawns of necromancers. So you're supposed to come get this before you go down in the catacombs, because then you can make a divine weapon which will put down the skeletons for good. Let's read this next thing, and then we'll... Key to the basement of the watchtower in the undead burg. The basement of the watchtower forms a stone cell. There are rumors of a hero turned hollow who was locked away by a dear friend for his own good, of course. So this is the key to Havel's little tower that he's in the undead burg / Darkroot Garden area. And I'm going to use that homeward bone to get out of here that they gave me, because they were nice enough to give it to me. But we didn't need that key because we had the master key, so that's not going to give us anything right now because we already did that. So, but the Divine Ember, yeah, you can make divine weapons. You have to get a weapon to +5 first, and then you kind of ascend it to a divine weapon. That turns it into a weapon that scales based off wisdom, I guess. But I don't know. You'd have to be some sort of like miracle wielding warrior paladin guy to make use of a divine weapon. I've used a divine weapon just to do the catacombs, but I've never gone through the whole game with the divine weapon. I'm sure it's pretty fun, but it's like a type of playthrough you can do. You can use a divine weapon and get miracles from Petrus and heal yourself and use, like, I don't even know, there's like lightning bolts you can do for damage. Then you get a bunch of extra heals, and then you can do a homeward bone type spell, and then you can do like a guidance type spell which gives you like clues to secret areas and stuff. It's not the most fleshed out path to go down, but it's a really safe way to go if you use like big armor, a divine weapon, a big shield. Then you got your talisman with miracles. You can heal yourself, so you have 20 Estus flasks at +5, and then you have like 20 other heals, so every time you get hit you can run away and heal up, you know. And then you got your SunlightBlade is really good, and you can put that on your weapon. It's like lightning. That's probably the best weapon buff in the game too, so we might be going for that. Probably not though. I'm probably gonna stick with the fire for just for this playthrough though. Not sure what I was doing there. I think switching my shield back to my grass crest shield, because we don't need the magic defense anymore. We want the stamina again. Back here, you guys, this should look familiar. We were farming some souls here earlier, which they definitely nerfed, because this guy used to be worth like 3,000 or 4,000. Now he's only worth 2,000. There used to be another warrior standing right here that you could grab like as soon as you left the stairs. He's not here anymore. He gave like 2,000 at least. And then they all gave different amounts of souls. The thief would give like 4,000. The bandit would give like 3. There's another warrior over there that gives like 7 or something, and then the archer would give like 9. The priest here would give like 5 or something. Like if you gathered up like 4 or 5 of them, you get like 13 or 14 or 17,000 souls every time you cheesed them off the cliff. And now they all give like 1 to 2,000. Here's another guy that's pretty easy to practice parry on. Like if you get too good against those big ogre guys in Blighttown, this would be your next step up. He's a little bit harder than those guys. The guys with the club and they drop the duty. The black ogre guys that I said that you could practice parry on, because they're like the easiest guys in the game to parry. Well, here's your step up. You could parry that bandit right there for your tier 2 parry skills. Use it against that bandit guy. 'Cause he's got a pretty slow axe, but he'll do different kinds of attacks. There's an NPC that spawns right here. That's what I was checking for. And the Forest Covenant is right there in that building. And I don't know. I wanted to clear out this whole area before I went in there, and then I just kind of skipped on by it, and then we'll have to do it next time. I did not do the Forest Covenant. I kind of went around it, but we'll do it next time. We'll beat the Forest Covenant. And the mushroom guys, because right past here there's the cat up there. You talk to him. Then a couple NPCs will spawn out here if you join the Forest Covenant, and these guys will be nice to you until you attack them again, because they're all in the Forest Covenant, all these translucent dudes out here. So if you go and talk to that cat in that building right there, he'll let you join the Forest Covenant, and all these guys will be friendly until you attack one again. And the Forest Covenant's like a PvP type covenant. It really has no use for you in just PvE. It won't have any use for us because I'm not online at the moment. But we'll do that next time, because then the NPC will appear outside after you join the covenant, and you can get the wood grain ring, which the dark wood grain ring, which lets you do the flippy roll, which is probably also nerfed in this version, because it used to be a little bit better than it is now, I think, but it's still really awesome. Like, it makes you have extra iframes, which that's another hard thing to explain. Poise and iframes are probably the two most difficult mechanics to explain from this game, I would say. Hey, look at that parry. This guy is probably the next step up for parrying, because if you miss, he really hits you hard. You gotta be really careful, and he'll do moves like that are different speeds. I don't know if I'd recommend practicing on him until you're like an expert with the other two. But he used to be worth so much. Like, he only gives you 3 here, but he used to give like 9,000 souls. It was crazy. At least 6. At least double that. But what was I talking about? Oh, iframes. Yeah, iframes are the amount of time that you're invulnerable when you roll. That's what iframes are. So you get a certain amount of frames where you're invincible. So I is for invincible. So you get a certain amount of time where you're invincible when you roll. It's usually like when you're exactly upside down is when you're like the most invincible. So like when you're rolling and your head is under your body. So that's when you wanna time the attack of the enemy with you being completely upside down, and you'll probably do well with your rolling. But yeah, that's when you're most invincible during your roll, probably. But with the dark wood grain ring, it gives you, like, let's say you have 1 second of iframes with your normal roll. Well, the wood grain ring will give you like 2 seconds of iframes, so you don't have to be as good at rolling, and you can kind of spam it too. So you'll have, like, if you spam the roll. Broad-brimmed hat favored by the archer hero Ferris. Ferris was an accomplished archer, and though he was human, he ranked alongside Hawkeye Go, one of the 4 knights of Lord Gwyn. His hat is universally popular among children. So, really good archer alongside Hawkeye Go, one of the 4 knights of Lord Gwyn. So Ferris was not one of the knights of Lord Gwyn, but Hawkeye Go was, and they're saying Ferris was almost as good as Hawkeye Go. The preferred black bow of the heroic archer Ferris has a longer range than standard bows, but is more difficult to use. Without proper abilities, results will be underwhelming. So Ferris is pretty much like Robin Hood in this game, if you will. And the black bow of Ferris I thought was way better than this, but looks like the longbow is better than the black bow of Ferris. I don't see anything better about it. Let's see, A, B, C, D, E. So it's strength. They're both S, so there's no difference there. And then the longbow has a better scaling with strength, and the attack is higher with the longbow. So I don't get it. Black bow Ferris, I think it just looks cooler. It's the only thing, and it's better than like the short bow. So it's not the worst bow ever, but it's not the best bow either. And it just looks a little bit cooler than like your normal longbow. It's like black, obviously. It's called the black bow of Ferris. So it's mostly for fashion souls, I'd say. Same with the hat. The hat doesn't really do anything. It's just like a Robin Hood type hat. But yeah, there's a few items out here. A bunch of these guys though, so watch out. They can kill you for sure, because there's a bunch of them. They pop up out of nowhere, but got that hat there. We got the Elite Knight set earlier. The stone sword and shield. The wolf ring. Some green blossoms. Some proud knight soul, hard soul. And these guys drop like moss clumps, which you don't need that often, to be honest. And I just remembered that our scythe does bleed damage. Which bleed is like a kind of like a poison. It's a meter that builds up on the enemy. So every time I attack an enemy that can be bled, it'll build up a meter. And when that meter gets full, they'll like they'll hemorrhage, and they'll lose extra health. So let's say I'm fighting a human, like say I'm in a PvP fight and I'm fighting somebody that's like exactly like me. And I hit them once with my scythe, it'll build up a meter. So the meter, say, has 100. So it'll build up like 30 of the meter. And then every like second, the meter will go down by 5. So let's say I don't hit them right away again. It takes me like a second or two to hit them again. So their meter goes down to 20. I hit them again, it goes up to 50. We're dancing around, they hit me once, and their meter goes down like by 20, or like, you know, by 10 or whatever, to 40. I hit them again, and it goes up 30 more, so 70. And then I hit them again, it goes up to 100, then they hemorrhage, and they lose like 350 health or something like that, extra, on top of what I'm hitting them for. It's a pretty large amount of damage if you can get that meter full. But it's constantly draining, and it doesn't build up unless you're hitting them. So I gotta use this big slow weapon, probably like 4 consecutive times, just to make somebody hemorrhage and do extra damage. So it only really works against like bosses that can be bled, which is only like 2 or 3 bosses, or like really big mini boss type enemies that, you know, the last bit of their health is going to be that hemorrhage, maybe. Like maybe a Black Knight, you could get them to hemorrhage. Maybe I don't know, one of these wolf guys we're about to fight. Something with a lot of health that you have to hit like 4 to 5 times in a row, because that meter's going to drain. So if you hit them once and then you're farting around for 30 seconds, and then you hit them again, and then you're farting around for blocking and running away, and then you hit them again, like your meter's going to keep draining out. You're not going to get that meter full, because it continuously drains. There's a lot of like crazy mechanics in this game, I guess. I've never seen anything like that in any other game. I mean, of course there's other games with like poison and bleed, but not like that kind of meter where you hit them with it and then it starts draining, and then you have to hit them again, and then it's draining, and then you hit them again and it's draining, and you have to get to a certain point, but it's always draining. I like that. That's cool. With any other game, like a RPG, turn-based RPG, you just do poison, they're poisoned. They can resist it, or they don't resist it. In this game, it's like a meter. You hit them with poison, it builds their meter. They're not immediately poisoned. You build their meter up to like 50, and then it starts draining down to 40. Then you hit them again, and it goes up 50. But they only have 90, so so they're not poisoned yet. So it starts draining, you have to hit them again with it. Like, it takes 3 to 4 tries to poison somebody. That's why poison's not used in this game very much, because only with bows and arrows. So when you're even when you're shooting poison arrows, you have to hit them like 4 to 5 times consecutively to get them poisoned. You can't shoot one at them. That's not going to poison them. You can't just shoot one arrow and expect to poison somebody. Not even 2 or 3, and not even 5 if you take forever in between the shots. You have to shoot 4 to 5 arrows quickly in succession to build up that meter. But poison arrows are super effective in this game, but any other kind of poison, really not. Unless you're using like the fastest weapon in the game. Eastern Helm, a distinctive helm made in an eastern land, exquisitely crafted. With this helm offers excellent defense, particularly versus slash attacks, which are one of the main threats in battles in the east. Which is another mechanic. Some armor's better against slash. Some armor's better against pierce. Some armor's better against crush. Some armor's better against, you know, whatever. There's a couple more. Like serrated or whatever. Eastern armor made in an eastern land. Exquisitely crafted. These gauntlets offer excellent defense, particularly versus slash. So that's like a samurai outfit. If you want to do like a samurai cosplay. And it'd be good against slash, I guess, you know. Maybe in like PvP. You know that your opponent's going to be using a slashing weapon. Put on your eastern armor, be a samurai. Get you a katana or some sort of samurai sword. I think we got most of the items now, and I'm just making sure that we didn't miss anything. So far we pretty much cleared out the Darkroot Garden, at least the main area. We beat the boss, the Moonlight Butterfly, so now we have access to the Divine Ember and the Moonlight Butterfly Soul, which is another topic. A lot of bosses will drop souls. I guess besides the Taurus Demon doesn't. The Asylum Demon, the Stray Demon, those don't. The Gargoyles don't. You have to be like a powerful boss, I guess. So the Moonlight Butterfly does for some reason. And then Quelaag and Sif. They start dropping after like the first few bosses, and then you can don't use those souls. Like you see me using hard souls, which is like the soul of a proud knight, the soul of an undead warrior, the soul of blah blah blah. You see me crushing those when I need extra souls. There's also those for bosses. They're big, yellow, hard to miss souls in your inventory. Never consume those. It's kind of like the Firekeeper soul we were talking about last time. You never want to consume a Firekeeper soul. All it does is give you health. And that's stupid because you can get extra power in your Estus class. Mine says +2 because I've taken 2 Firekeeper souls to a Firekeeper. So mine says +2 instead of nothing. Now you could use that as a healing item like an idiot and get like a healing, get healed up and get like 1 humanity or whatever it does extra on top. That's a complete waste. Same with like the boss souls. If you consume the boss soul, you'll get a bunch of souls. Like it's more than any other hard soul. Like Moonlight Butterfly probably only gives you like 10,000, but like Sif will give you like 50 or something, and like Quelaag will probably give you like 30,000. So if you already have the boss weapons, you can do that, but otherwise you want to save those boss souls, and there's a special blacksmith in Anor Londo that will turn those boss souls into boss weapons. So Quelaag has the Chaos Fury Sword and the katana. And so you get 2 different choices for a boss weapon. And I've used the Quelaag's Fury Sword for a playthrough before. That would be cool with this character, but I'm gonna use the Scythe, so never mind. And like Sif does like the Great Sword of Artorias or the Shield. Moonlight Butterfly does the Moonlight Greatsword or something. I think a shield. Like a butterfly shield that does some sort of, I think, attack that's really powerful. But most people go for the Moonlight Greatsword because it's just really cool. These guys are tough, so you gotta watch out for these hedgehog wolves or whatever the heck they are. Badger dudes. But look how many times I can attack them without them dying. So this would be a good a good enemy to try to bleed, but they just hit so hard and they're so agile that I couldn't do it. So I fought this first one-on-one just to show you what they could do. Which is a lot. It's taken me a lot of attacks to kill this thing. Probably at least 6 or 7, 8, 9 attacks to kill that thing. 2,000 souls. But there's a couple more over here. You gotta watch out. And you can come in the other way, and they'll jump down off this little ledge over there, and they'll surprise you your first time playing this game. So, ooh, I almost died here. I remember. I was like, I'm getting the heck out of here. But the best way to kill them is with a bow and arrow. I know it's kind of boring. Try to stress. Get used to the bow and arrow. It's really helpful in this game. Especially with poison arrows, which I don't have right now. I almost went and got them before we started, but it was too far away. We were already at Andre. I didn't want to go all the way back to the undead female merchant in the aqueduct just for poison arrows, which would have been really helpful right here, and we might have been able to kill the Hydra with them too. So I can't remember if you can shoot the Hydra from far away with the poison arrows or not. I think you gotta knock all of its heads off no matter what, so I don't think that works, but... So I'm just, right out of range of their roll. They're not allowed to go past a certain point. They have a hard leash, which is right there. They can't go down that little bump, that little hill. Sometimes they'll go a little bit further than, like, the edge of it. But where I'm standing, they cannot get to it. No matter how hard they try, there's like an invisible wall or something. They can't get to me. So I'm right on the edge of it, just shooting arrows. Trying to hit them with as many as I can. You can get a good 2 shots on them each time. You can get 3 if you're really lucky. But they're pretty fast. And hard to track. They're all full of arrows. I like how the arrows stay in them. At least for a certain amount of time they do. Just trying to remember what I was talking about. Oh yeah, the boss souls. So, yeah, with the boss souls, never consume them. Because you might want to craft that boss weapon. You never know. I mean, they're not used for too much. There's a trophy associated with the boss weapons, I think. So that's one reason not to do it if you're going for that achievement. Another reason is, like, some of the weapons are pretty good. The Moonlight Greatsword's good for, like, intelligence sorcerer type warriors. It shoots a beam of moonlight out of it. It's pretty nice. Ooh, would you see that shot? Right in the freaking side of the head as it was running away. Pretty nice. But they're all dead now. There's 3 of them. This area you can come in from the other way as well. After you fight Sif, usually. I'm coming in the back way, I guess. So you gotta remember that they're there. There's the ledge they stand on to the right and up. Here is where you're gonna walk in. So remember, when you get this large soul of brave warrior, that's where they're gonna start. You know, you gotta watch out. There's a flower there, then a large soul of brave warrior, and then there's a ledge up to your left, where there's 2 or 3 of them up there, waiting for you to pounce down on you and roll all over you, Sonic the Hedgehog your ass. But it's along this cliff edge where you fought Sif. So remember, if you fight Sif, let's say you go the other way, through the mushroom guys, through the forest covenant, and then you come through the mushroom guys, you'll get to this bridge right here. You'll fight Sif, you'll come back out, you'll go left along the cliff edge, you'll find that soul of the brave warrior, and then you'll keep going, and then those guys will jump down off the ledge and just murder you. So you gotta watch out for them. I came in the back way kinda, because I wanted to clear out that forest area. Get the eastern set, clear out all those stupid plant guys. But here's another boss fight. So 2 boss fights in this. I wish I would have healed up all the way first. I wish I would have buffed up first. I didn't know the battle started here. I was kind of an idiot. But that is supposed to be Artorias' sword. It looks a little bit too big, but I guess so. The wolf can use it. Just slightly too big. He does have a pretty big sword, though, if I remember. I mean, I've never seen the DLC, except for briefly. That sword does look pretty dang big. So, I'm dead. What happened there was, instead of being ready to fight, I buffed up as soon as the battle started. I was planning on doing that, I guess. I don't know. I was jamming the square button. So I was hoping I had enough time to buff my weapon before he would get to me and attack me, because whoever thought a boss would be able to attack you in the first second after a cutscene? Well, Sif did. Knocked me down to 1 hit, and then I was blocking. He hit me, I blocked it, but it knocked out all my stamina. So he hit me immediately after and killed me, because I didn't have any stamina left. So even though I was blocking, it went through my shield and killed me. So that's what happened. Just unfortunate choice by me to not fully heal up before a battle, to not buff up before a battle. There's a cutscene involved, and a boss that quickly attacks after a cutscene, or else that would never have happened, but not a big deal. Here's the other way you can go, by the way, that I was talking about. This is like the Mushroom Man area. There's another, I think, Ember here, but we'll get it after we beat Sif, probably in the next part, because now we don't have much time left since I died. But yeah, don't just run through that area like I did. You want to explore it, because there's an Ember there. Pretty sure. Like a magic Ember. So you know how we got a Divine Ember earlier? Well, there's like a magic one, I think. Right there. After the Forest Covenant, but before Sif. Alright, so the way you want to fight this guy is you just want to get way up under him. Way up under him. Roll under, get like between his 2 front paws. Get between like all 4 of his legs if you can. Just get under him. As far in under him as you can, to where he can't attack you. So right there's perfect. This, not good. Right here, not good. Not good, not good, not good, not good. This is good, right here. Good, good, good. Not good. Not good. You gotta watch out. You can't just block, because he'll knock all your stamina out. Rolling's a little bit better on this guy. But roll into him and under him. That's how you beat him. Into him and under him. You might have to roll twice in a row, because he does 2 attacks in a row, and 1 attack will knock out all your stamina if you're blocking. So you just roll, and then you're under him, and then you're attacking. And he hit me with that second attack, but I was already pretty far under him. So roll, and just assume he's going to do 2 attacks. So roll, roll, now I'm under him, now I can get a couple attacks in. Sometimes he'll fly out of the whole arena. I've never seen him completely go out, but I think it's possible. Covenant of Artorias. So you have to beat this boss. This is not an optional fight. Moonlight Butterfly is an optional boss, but Sif is not an optional boss, because you need that Covenant of Artorias to go fight the 4 kings, which is a boss you have to beat. Soul of Sif of the Great Grey Wolf, who guards the grave of Artorias the Abysswalker. Special beings have special souls. Use the soul of Sif who inherited the Divine Knight Sword, to acquire a huge amount of souls or to create a unique weapon. So it tells you there in the description that you can create a unique weapon. So that should be your clue not to consume it. But here's the soul of Quelaag, once daughter of Witch of Izalith, but now a chaos demon. Special beings have special souls, and Quelaag's soul contains all aspects of chaos. Use it to acquire a huge amount of souls or to create a unique weapon. And then we have the soul of the Moonlight Butterfly, soul of the mystical Moonlight Butterfly, which flitters in the dark root garden. Special beings have special souls. The butterfly's soul is creation of Sif the Scaleless. Used to acquire a huge amount of souls or to create a unique weapon. So the last 3 bosses we fought, well, besides the stray demon, I guess, had unique special souls. So we're starting to get into the second half of the game here. Really, because next we're going to Sin's Fortress, and then Anor Londo. So we're heading towards the second half of the game already. This ring symbolizes Knight Artorias' covenant with the beasts of the abyss. Its wearer, like Artorias himself, can traverse the abyss. So if you do not have that ring and you try to go to the abyss and fight the 4 kings, which you have to do, you won't be able to do it. You'll just die. Can't even try. You just die. And there used to be a way you could skip through that by like glitching the game and clipping through the wall and everything, and I don't know. But it's not the proper way to do it. And I've never done it. We got a ring there, pretty good one. One of the special rings granted to the 4 Knights of Gwyn, the Hornet Ring, belonged to the Lord's Blade Siren. By boosting critical attacks, its wearer can annihilate foes, as Siren's dagger laid waste to Lord Gwyn's enemies. Laid waste. But, hey, that's it, guys. Please like, share, subscribe. I'll see you next time. Hey, we beat Sif. We beat the Moonlight Butterfly. Next time we'll collect the rest of the crap here. We'll beat the Hydra, then we'll head into Sin's Fortress. So, pretty exciting next time. Beat 2 bosses, though. Like, share, subscribe, comment below, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.